Good evening. We are opening the regular session at 7:02. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Brazil, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. On to item number 4, approval of the agenda. I do have one correction, and that is an item 9B, which is new business, 2024 local indicators. On the agenda, it states that it is an informational item only. On the BRM, which is board reference material, which is the backup material we have, which is located on page 7, it says that it's an action item. It is a non-action item, so we will not be taking action on that. So we need to make that one correction. Dr. Marshall, anything else?
Nothing else.
All right, with that, need a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
The agenda is corrected.
We got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Moran, to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's carried unanimously. If there's any member of the public that would like an item placed on a future agenda of the board, you may do so by contacting the superintendent at least 2 weeks prior to a board meeting, regular board meeting, and if it's within our purview, we will consider it for a future agenda. If there's anybody here in the audience tonight that would like to make a comment on any item that is on our agenda, you may do so when that item comes up before us. Come on up to the podium. You'll be recognized. Introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak on that agenda item. And if there are multiple speakers, there are a total of 20 minutes for that agenda item. If there's anybody here tonight that would like to address the board on any item that is not on tonight's agenda, you may do so in a second when I finish this little spiel here. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If there are multiple speakers on the same non-agenda item, it's a total of 20 minutes. So with that, is there anybody here that wishes to address the board on any item that is not on tonight's agenda? And
Hello,
I'd
my name is Domingo Sandoval.
like to just make a point that the clock is right underneath that monitor over there. All right, there you go. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Domingo Sandoval, and I own Sandoval Wood Creations, and my son is got to read something.
Good afternoon. I'm Joshua Sandoval from Sandoval Wood Creations. We would like to thank all the schools that have used us as their jumper supplier. Los Banos Elementary, Grasslands Elementary, Charleston Elementary, Miano Elementary, Volta Elementary, Westside Elementary, Pacheco High School, Creekside Junior High, and Los Banos High School. Thank you all for supporting our local family business. Without the business we get from you guys, we wouldn't be able to help the school's school fundraisers, like the Halloween extravaganza. Thank you all so much. We enjoy being there for the kids and giving them great memories.
Thank you all the principals and everything for supporting us, and make us more stronger every year. And I very appreciate it. So it's something that my whole family is putting together every year, and do a toy drive and everything. So it's a lot of support for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. So anybody else that wishes to address the board on any item that's not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports. California School Employees Association, CSEA. Seeing no one come forward, on to Los Banos Teachers Association. Seeing no one come forward, we'll on to facilities. Dr. Lee.
Good evening, trustees. Mr. Mondick couldn't be here tonight, so I'm presenting the facility update. And I apologize, I don't have a PowerPoint. The first thing is the LB parking lot Last time we presented to the board that substantial completion day was August 2nd. So we can report back to the board now, say the paving is complete, working on electrical gate, and fencing is being completed this week. The irrigation, landscaping, and stripping still need to be completed. This will be occur within the next few weeks. The construction fencing will be removed this week, and the staff will be able to park in the parking lot when school starts. However, there will be area that be called off. The contractor still need to complete their work, LBE. For Lofton Stadium Phase 2, last time we said the turf was going to be complete by July 19, and the rubber track will start on July 29 and complete by August 16. The turf installation is complete at Lofton. The equipment and maintenance training occurred today. Today is the A8. The track has the first layer of a rubbing surfacing. The contractor will return next Tuesday to start spraying the top of the rubber coat. The contractor is not done. They will work with the district to ensure we have access to the field for the first freshman game on August 22nd at Lofton. For pour in the place of rubber surfacing for the preschool playgrounds in Harry Miller and Miano is complete. The cowshed plumbing urinal replacement projects complete at 8 different sites, 46 replacements total. Cowshed ventilation, the CO2 sensor will be installed at all sites, starting at the 3rd week in September. The FLT parking lot, last time we reported to the board that substantial completion day will be August 2nd. We can tell you that the paving now is being completed. The stripping was complete on Monday. The remaining work to be completed is the landscaping. And for EV, PV solar FOT, waiting for PG&E to give us some more information. We expect to receive the switchgear, which is the control box, for the system for electrical flow to the panel in mid-December. By February 2025, EV bus should be online. For TK Center, the bid day for the site work was moved through agenda process and now due August 14 at 3 p.m. For Creekside Junior High School and Grassland ES solar arrays construction starting during winter recess. The major construction will be completed before student staff return in January, and only small area of the parking area will be inaccessible. Lastly is the LB High School classroom wing H and G re-roofing project, and that project was completed on August 2nd. And that completes the facility update.
All right, any questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Dr. Lee. On to Superintendent's report. Dr. Marshall.
Okay, I have a short presentation. As you can see on the screens, there's some things that I really want to get out there. First, welcome back. Tomorrow, there will be a virtual presentation that I'm doing district-wide. I think I sent you all a draft of it this afternoon. They did a good job. Alex Gomes, he filmed it for me. But, staff members, they can look at that in its entirety. It kind of tells you everything that's going on in the district, kind of an update. So we're excited about that. Kudos to the custodial staffs and the maintenance staff. I mean, it's always when you come back, I guess those are the hardest working folks, because when school's about to start, it's like you find all those things that have to be done. And I want to just kind of give some special props there. I've enjoyed the staff development days that I've been to so far, and looking forward to the back to school events. So now what I want to do is just kind of talk about some big items that are going on in the district. First, at our secondary sites, we have Evolve. I mean, that's going to be at our the junior highs and high schools, comprehensive high schools, in St. Louis. And we did a pilot at Pacheco High School for summer school, and it went very well. So we're looking forward to that this year, unveiling that, district-wide. And I mean, there's been training that's going along with that, and it's going well.
Do you have a date on the other?
Oh, when it starts, when the kids come back Monday.
They should all be ready?
They'll all be ready, yes. Yeah. All right. Next, community schools. I mean, I have a separate presentation about that. I want to talk about that briefly. And then the FPM business. So go to the next slide, please. I wanted to kind of get into a little just about the community schools process. And
basically just gives you this visual, gives you a timeline of kind of how the process started in the spring of 2023. We asked for one of the planning grants, and we got an initial $200,000 to go in that direction. That was the start. Like most people would, when you get that type of money, they contracted with a vendor that basically that specializes in writing the grants. And so we used ERC to assist us with the process. Dr. Ritchie and his team had to kind of compile the data to meet the metrics, but the agency kind of helped with the writing. By winter of 2024, we had to submit our application. As we talked about this spring, we were one of the higher funded awards. We got $20.1 billion over 5 years. Now, what happens next? There's been some questions about that. On tonight, we have the community schools coordinators. They're going to kind of drive the process. That's the job descriptions and such. There will be a district community schools advisory committee, and then we'll be visiting community school programs, established programs throughout the state. There are a lot out there. I want to thank LBTA. They sent me some. There was a model program in Anaheim. That's when we may visit. So I'm looking. I'm glad the excitement is there. One thing that I want to make very clear. Go to the next slide. When you receive that type of money, $20 million, there will be people in a much like what we think is important. That's great. But the people at the state, the people that award the money, they are the ones that are going to come down and make sure that we basically are doing what we said we were going to do. Now we receive about $14 million in federal funds or that are going to be mounted. We have an FPM visit this year, and I want to show you how the process works. Basically, if you look, you can't see this, but basically what you have is there's on that diagram it talks about the programs they're going to look at. Then they have the reviewers, and then they have the schools they're going to go to. So basically, everything that you have in writing that you said you were doing, they have experts from the state that will come down, and they're going to make sure you're doing it. So it's not like we're going to get $20 million and it's going to be, Hope Lost Man spends it properly. No, if we don't, they're going to send people from the state to look at what we're doing. And if we don't, they're going to just either cut you off or kind of guide you in the right direction, or you said this on paper. You need to fix this. So it's a little bit more. It's a more polished process than just us get to do willy nilly. It's a little bit more advanced than that. So I just wanted to just put that out there that there is some oversight, and we're looking forward to the process. To close, we're looking forward to the next steps. I think this is going to be a big for our community. I mean, you're going to do it right because they're going to make sure we do it right. So I just want to just put that out there. Right, Wes. Lastly. This is for West Side. They're going to be hosting a backpack giveaway. That'll be on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. So that's my report.
Thank you. On the board report. Ms. Smith.
Well, I don't have a report, but I will say that I've been spending a lot of time, actually since June 16th, just trying to stay cool. It's been really difficult. What I have been doing also is planning my calendar for the upcoming school year so I can be more visible and out there in schools. I still work a full-time job, so I'm working myself into retirement. So I'm working on my calendar so I can get out and visit the sites more like I really would like to do. And I'm asking you all to come back to school and have a great night. First night back is the 12th for some of us, the open houses. Enjoy your open houses and get ready to go back full steam ahead. I told my granddaughters the other day, it's time to go back to school, get ready, let's rock and roll and get this done. So congratulations everybody for having a nice summer and welcome back. And stay cool the rest of the what you can.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. On to Mr. Lee.
So I too will say thank you. I'm looking forward to back to school nights. Enjoy visiting all the school sites that I can get to. Unfortunately, they're a lot on the same days, but I will try to get to as many as I can. I do want to take one opportunity to thank Dr. Marshall, especially. He keeps the board updated on everything that's going on. Even though school's not in session, there's a lot of moving parts. Being new on the board, I had no idea how many moving parts there are. And And also, especially want to thank he and Sherry Mundy for all the Measure X projects that are being done. We, before I got on the board, passed Measure X to do all these projects, and we're doing them, and we're seeing them happening. And lastly, if we didn't have someone watching our budget, thank you, Dr. Lee, we would not have the money necessary to do all of the repairs that come up. There's been a number of them this summer. Most people don't even know because they just happen, and then the district just takes care of fixing everything. So air conditioners go out at West Side. It's an older campus. They need to be repaired or replaced. That's a lot of money. I don't want to see kids starting school without air conditioning. We're not going to see temperatures down below 95 for a while. Los Banos Junior High has a fire in the kitchen, and we got to have money to fix that kitchen. So I just want to thank you guys for watching and making sure that we have money sitting there when we need it. It's very important. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lieb. Ms. Valdeo.
You skipped.
I'm making a circle.
I just want to welcome everyone back. I know this is my 4th year retired, and I think it's my first year. I kind of was kind of missing starting the school year, which seems kind of weird, but that I did attend many things this last 2 days, which was very exciting to see the teachers. And I just want to mention a few things that I saw. Mrs. Raines at HME, when I was there, she was leading her staff on student expectations and how important they were. She did a great activity that even engaged me. I was like, oh, this is really neat. It was really impressive to see that. And I just thought she's just modeling that great leadership that we have in our district, and that leadership improves student and teacher achievement. So thank you very much for being that strong leader in our district. I was also very surprised to see the LEAP coordinator for HME. I mean, I've seen LEAP around for a long time, but her name was Jasmine Zamaro, and she introduced her whole staff and talked about what the program was all about. And I know when I was teaching, LEAP was just the small little program that was here and there, and it wasn't very strong. Now it seems like it's developed in such a strong program. And not only that, I was really surprised to see that even teachers have the opportunity to either have enrichment groups or intervention groups and be paid to participate in the after-school program. So I thought that was a great opportunity for teachers. I also went and visited the TK today, but I happened to walk into their LEAP program. And I was like, there's LEAP and TK? And those 3 ladies in there were so excited. They said, yeah, this is our 2nd year. We're so excited. This is going to be so much better this year. So I was so happy to see not only them, but how excited they were, and that we have a program in place that is for the young children to be able to participate when maybe their parents can't have them, because TK is only half day. So that really shows great professionalism, and I know they're going to create that positive environment for our students. So thank you.
All right, Ms. Moran.
Nothing more to add. Welcome back. And the time on the backpack giveaway is 10 in the morning, and I only reiterate that because it's first come, first served for the backpacks. So make sure, hope to see the whole community out there. Starts at 10 a.m. Westside Union. There's a lot of resources. So Mercer College will also be out there. There's a lot of resources, healthcare, you name it, for the whole community. So come out, support it, and look forward to seeing you all there. And then I will be attending some of the back to school nights as well. So I will see you there. Thank you.
Ms. Caduso.
I just want to say welcome back to all the classified, certificated, and admin. It's nice to see you all here tonight. I'm hoping we're going to have a great year this year, and we're looking forward to the back to school nights. We're going to split up some of them because they're all on the same night, same time. So if you don't see some of us at your site, know that we wanted to be there, but we're trying to cover all of them for that night. And I want to just reiterate, as we've said before, if you have something going on or you'd like us to come to your site, please just let us know. Send an email. We want to be there. If we can come, we'll come. Sometimes we just can't, but we really want to be there and support you and your schools and your staff. So thank you very much for all you do.
Right, thank you. Just to kind of reiterate what Ms. Gattuso said, we are working on a schedule for the board to make sure at least there is one board member that visits your site, because they all seem to be, except for LFE, they all seem to be on the same night at about the same time. So we're going to stretch ourselves pretty thin because there's 9 sites to visit and 7 of us. So we're going to do what we can to make sure that every site is covered. Secondary, of course, you guys are all on different days, so that works out for us. And driving by the schools on my way to someplace every morning called pickleball. I drive by LFE and then come home and I drive by the high school. And sometimes I go by Miano if I want to go another direction or whatever. And there's a lot of cars in the parking lot. And I know that our staff is working. I know they're getting their rooms ready and admin is getting their team ready. So I know there's a lot of work being put in before those kids get here on that first day. So thank you for doing all of that. I know I used to do it, and I know Dana and Lori did too. We spent a lot of time getting our classroom ready for the kids on that first day. So it's a lot of work, but it's really fulfilling. So I know how important it is, and thank you all for doing that. The other thing is I took a quick drive through the last couple of nights, actually. I've done it twice already. The Los Banos High School parking lot and the student parking lot and Pacheco's student parking lot to see the seniors painting their parking spot. The artwork is amazing. I know, and last night, right behind my house is the student parking lot at Los Banos High School, and radios were blaring. I heard them all out there. I walked over, checked things out. There was a whole bunch of kids and parents, and the stuff they did is amazing artwork. So if you haven't got a chance before school starts, or at least maybe one day after school, if the parking lot's still open, drive through and check out what they did in the parking lot. It's really amazing. The kids have done a great job. So I know they're ready to start school on that first day. And of course, I know both high schools are going to have their senior walk-in, I'm sure. So I know that's coming, and everybody's excited about that. So it's going to be a great start to the new year. All right. With that, on to new business item A, transportation update. Mr. Taylor. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. Thank you guys for having me again tonight. I am here just to give you guys kind of a brief update of things that we accomplished over the last school year. There were bumps, but we got through them. A lot of the highlights here. One huge thing that we did was to increase student safety with upgrading our radio communication system as well as our video recording system. The video recording those are installed and 100% functional on all of our buses starting this year. So we had an old outdated system, only 3 cameras, very blurry quality. We upgraded to 4 interior cameras plus one a 5th forward-facing dash camera. So a lot more safer for our students. We adopted a new transportation safety plan, which was not in place when I came in. We increased accessibility to the route information for parents and staff. So all of our bus route information is available online for every school site. So at any point in time, if parents have a question about when the bus is coming to their house, it's a live document. When we update it, it updates that very second online. So all parents can see that. We also increased and provided additional training opportunities for our bus drivers, a lot more hands-on training. Another thing that we I was hoping that this was going to be fully functional going into the school year, but there's been a little hiccups. It's our transportation request form. This is going to be something where the parents can, online, they can send us a request to request information, transportation services for their student, and that information will go directly into our routing system, and they will pop up on our transportation page as a little blue dot. Right now, I have over 10,000 blue dots on my screen. So I'm trying to narrow that down so then we can actually create bus rosters and know exactly who's riding our buses, what students go on what bus. Instead of, we had a lot of issues last year where, mainly at the junior high level, where students would ride this bus one day, they would ride that bus another day, and then you have no idea of who's on what bus are they really supposed to go on. The issue that we're having with the form is we're trying to get it to where it will request, when the parents search for their students' information, it just shows their ID number. Right now, the only way that the company has it set up is where it shows the whole student's name. So you start typing a name and you get a whole list. So we're trying to get that switched over to where we can do it by an ID number versus a name. The trainings that we offered this year, the big one that the drivers really liked was the active shooter training. That was brought to us by Knowledge Saves Lives. There was a whole slew of training with that on top of active shooter. They did stop the bleed training, which was very huge. The drivers, they really enjoyed the hands-on training, especially when they got to get behind the wheel of a bus and make it do things that we're not trained how to do. When somebody's on your bus that could be threatening the lives of our students or our drivers, they taught us a lot of different skills on different ways you can maneuver your bus while still maintaining control, which is something as you go through as a driver, it's having control of your bus 100% of the time, smooth stops, and this is completely different. It gives the drivers a completely different set of skills if they were ever to face that situation. Field trips were huge this last year. We completed 1,245 field trips. 779 of those trips were done by our very own school buses. In addition to that, there was 409 White Fleet trips, and 57 of our field trips were done by charter services, and those don't include the grad night buses. That's an additional, I think that was an additional 12 or 13 buses. As we increase the number of drivers on staff, we'll be able to reduce the number of charter buses that we use, which in turn will save us money in the long run. And all of our trip requests are going digital, so now instead of the site submitting a paper copy to transportation, they will all be trained on how to get online into our trip software and digitally put in their transportation requests. So we're eliminating a paper trail that way too. And that's what my screen will look like as they start to come in. As well as a master schedule for the entire district. All the sites will be given this so that when they're planning their field trips, they can look at the master schedule and go, oh, you know what, there's already 3 field trips going out that day. Let me see if I can look at another day that's not as heavy. So it'll assist them in the planning process as well. Any questions or comments?
Questions? Hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry. And they had to have badges to wear? So they identified? Does this program make badges now for them?
So the program will. I haven't gotten to that stage of it yet, but I am in the process that my plan is to develop an ID card system for each school. It'll have the school's logo on it with the student's name, their grade level, and what bus stop they go to. And then that'll be for all grade levels.
That'll be great. Well, because the little kids, they don't know where they're going. So.
Yeah.
And I know we used to have to make them by hand all the time. So.
Yeah, and they're still doing that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Mr. Lee.
I just want to go back over the blue dots, 10,000 blue dots. So,
yes.
Because I've never rode a bus, so I don't understand how this works. So a parent can go online and put in their child's ID number eventually,
and
yes. It'll tell them what bus they belong on?
What it'll do is it'll tell us that there's a student requesting a bus, and then we will add the student to a bus, and then we can reach out to the parent through a mobile app that is part of our software that will tell them, it'll give them their bus stop time. And if they're, let's say they're new to the area, it even offers a map that will show their house and the bus stop and give them turn-by-turn directions to get to the bus stop.
So prior to this technology, how was it done?
A lot of phone calls.
I'm not a bus driver. I'm a bus rider, no.
A lot of phone calls, a lot of you're going to bus stops, then students aren't there. And you go there for a week, and if nobody shows up, you remove it off and then somebody calls and says, hey, I need a bus. Well, we just removed it because nobody was there. So if nobody rides at a bus stop, we tend to leave it alone for a week, and then I'll start checking attendance. Is the student still enrolled? Is there a medical something before we remove a stop? But as far as new stops goes, it's a lot of phone calls.
Wow.
This program, hopefully, once we get to this, it'll cut down on the phone traffic a lot. Because right now, from about 9 o'clock on in the transportation office, the phone is ringing constantly, parents trying to get bus information.
So this should save time. And the cost for this program, is it expensive?
This is something that was already being
The technology part of it.
The technology part of it was already here in place when I got here. It just wasn't being used.
Oh.
This is something the district purchased. I believe it was in 2001. If I look back that far, I think in 2001 is when the district purchased it.
23 years ago?
No, 21. Not
21. Oh.
21.
I thought you said 2001.
Sorry, it's 2021.
21, okay.
Yeah, so I believe it was purchased in 2021.
Okay.
I know, looking back at the records in the system, it wasn't used in 21, 22, 23. It was very, very lightly used for field trips. I don't think it was used very much for actual home-to-school routing. And then I specialized in this program with my last district. So when I came in, I just went full steam ahead, getting routes going, getting field trips going. There's still parts of the system that we're not using yet, which is the parent communication app, but getting this transportation request form out there is the first process of getting that.
So there's no other surprises that you know about that we haven't been using for the last 3 years?
Not in this one.
This is it, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is it.
good. Thank you.
I do want to welcome all of you out to the bus yard on Thursday at between 9 and 10:30. We're going to be having an EV bus company bring out one of their electric buses that we're looking at. It's a newer company. The bus is completely different from anything that we have. The big thing that sold me on the interest of this bus was it brings the students up out of they sit higher, so they're out of the crash zone versus your conventional bus, they sit 6 to 8 inches lower. This bus brings those students up higher and gets them out of the crash zone, so they're going to be on site next Thursday.
Can you read the date and time again?
The date is the 15th.
15th?
Yeah,
15th.
Thursday the 15th, and they're supposed to be on site from 9 to 10:30.
9 to 10. At FOT.
At FOT, yes.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions? Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is item B, 2024 local indicators. Dr. Ritchie.
Good evening, Board. So in June, the June board meeting, I brought the local indicators for 2024 to the board for approval. We approved it at that time. You had asked some questions about priority 1, how the academic year data for teacher assignment monitoring outcome data was kind of outdated. It was from the 2021-22 school year. Well, the state, in its infinite wisdom, required all of us to bring that to the board in June And then they released the latest data in July, and then required all districts to then bring it back to the board to present at the next following board meeting. So I'm here tonight bringing the priority one, teacher assignment monitoring outcome data from the 2022-23 school year. So this meets our local indicator dashboard data that we submit to the state, that will be up on the dashboard in December, that demonstrates that we have met that requirement for the state for the priority one. It's on page 4 it's on page 11 of the board document. And for that year, we had 82.9% of our teachers had a clear credential. 2% were considered teaching in a position out of the field. 3.6% were interns. 5.8% were considered ineffective, and I'm going to explain that in a second. 5.6% were considered to have incomplete credentials, and I'll explain that in a second. And then 0.1% is unknown, and I honestly have no idea where that came from. So the incomplete, that's your PIPs and STIPs. So they're teachers who are working through the credentialing process. They don't have a complete credential yet. By statute, you can hire teachers for those positions. They are still continuing to work on their credential as they're going through it. And we have hired many teachers through this process. They've gone on to become great teachers in our district, and that's considered a okay practice. The part where it says ineffective, that is all I can tell you right now. That has nothing to do with the teacher's effectiveness or ineffectiveness. That is all about how classes are coded and about the teacher's credential. And this comes specifically from our CTE courses and how they were coded in Aries, and how the credentials that the teachers hold that line up with those courses. And if you remember when we brought that coordinator of data and accountability position, one of the things I told you when we brought that position forward was that we were going to start cleaning things up. This was part of the impetus to start cleaning that up, because we knew that this was going to show up on the dashboard in a couple of years, because we had data that was incorrect in our database, and we've spent the last year fixing our course codes, fixing our discipline codes, changing, just doing a lot of work. And Ms. Ellington has worked a ton on that, along with Dr. Horton before he left, and our principals supporting them with that. And so we've done a lot, and we're going to see a big difference on the dashboard this year when the reporting data comes out, because we've already started to see just internally, we have a good idea that we're going to see some big differences with outcome data for students, because our data is correct going in. Because if you have garbage data going in, you're going to have garbage data coming out. And so we're going to see this year, we're going to see some real big solid increases in our college career readiness indicators on other things, because of the work that's been done, as well as suspension rates and whatnot. And that has a direct impact in how we are recognized by the state for compliance, for OCR, for special education. It goes into a lot of areas. And so this is a bigger explanation than just this priority one, but I just want to let you know kind of where that came from. So we presented this to the board. This was an information item this evening. And yeah, at this time, do you have any questions?
Ms. Valdez.
I just noticed, I know I went and asked you these questions. What out of field and ineffective? There's 2% out of field, and I thought you just said ineffective was out of field. I just noticed it on the chart. Do you know what there might be the difference between that?
There is a difference between them. Out of field it's not, as I said, the ineffective one is that lineup between, that we found as the CTE. Out of field it's nuanced. It's a little bit different. It would be, in this particular case, I believe, it is where you have a teacher with a specific credential who is teaching in a specialized area, like, what do you call it? Like,
this would be the authorization for teaching assignments. I brought you part 1 last month, and I'm bringing you part 2 this month. This is for oftentimes your STEM where you don't have a STEM credential. It will be your athletic directors, your activity directors. It can be yearbook advisor, where you don't have a credential or a degree in these areas, but we have very effective teachers who do the work. So that's
So,
what.
but what's the difference between out of field and ineffective? Do you know that, why is it, like, to me, they seem this,
As I said,
they're not the same.
it's-
So what's ineffective then?
As is nuance. In this case, I'll give you a specific example. It's where we had a course coded in CTE. You have industry sectors, okay? So in career technical education classes, you have industry sectors, and you have to have the class coded appropriately within the industry sector. We had agriculture classes, which would be in the ag industry sector, that were coded as and to be in the building construction sector. And so the teacher who's teaching that course has an agriculture designated subject credential. The course requires someone who has a designated subject credential in the building industry sector. So while the course they're teaching is an ag course, it was misappropriately coded. And because it's misappropriately coded, it now looks like they are teaching, their credential does not line up, and so that's why it's considered ineffective. It doesn't mean that they're an effective teacher. It just means that the codes don't match up. And so we have made corrections to that, and it will not show up like that again.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you. Dr. Ritchie and Dr. Calzadias.
Teaching assignments, those, what were they called? Out of, Okay.
Out of field.
out of field. I'm bringing you some out of field. How's that? It's recommended that the board adopt resolutions 3924, 4024, and 4224, approving waivers for identified staff to teach outside of their credential authorization pursuant to Education Code Section 44258.7 C and D. Last month, I brought you several of these. This month, we have 3 additional ones that we have added for your approval.
Comments or questions? Need a motion, please? Got a motion by Member Moran, seconded by Member Lieb, to adopt resolutions 39-24, 40-24, and what's the other one?
42-3.
42. Oh, it's not on here. It's 42 dash.
Oh.
I missed that. 42-24. Okay. Left one off. Okay. Those 3. Roll call. Tina, please.
So?
Yes.
Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran? Mr. Munoz? Ms. Smith? Ms. Valadao? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will.
Thank you.
I will let everybody know that the 3 resolutions are in the backup board VRM material, board reference material. So 42-24 is in the packet. So it somehow didn't get put on to the agenda item. All right. All right. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Dr. Calzadias. On to item D, substitution of property securing the 2015 certificates of participation, and it's resolution 41-24. Dr. Lee.
It's recommended that the Board of Education adopt resolution 41-24, authorizing the substitution of leased property securing the 2015 certificate of participation, parentheses, quote, 2015 COPs, unquote, and approving form of amendments to 2015 site lease and 2015 lease agreement to accomplish the same.
Any questions? All right. Need a motion, please? We got a motion by Mr. Lieb, seconded by Ms. Smith, to adopt resolution 41-24. Roll call. Tina, please.
Mrs. Gattuso?
Yes.
Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz? Ms. Smith? Ms. Valadao? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, on to item E, Prop 28 Annual report for fiscal year 23-24.
It is recommended the board approve Proposition 28, the Arts and Music Funding Annual Report.
Any questions, comments? Yes, Ms. Valadeo.
So we haven't started this yet, correct?
We have Art and Music Block Grant, and we're transitioning into the Prop 28.
So we haven't,
As for 23-24, there was no expenditures, but we do have a plan in progress, working with education services.
right, because it seems like we haven't spent any money or hired people, so we really haven't implemented. But do we plan on implementing this year? Okay.
So what's happening to the art and music block grant?
Because that one has an expiration day, we're trying to spend that.
Oh, so it is
yeah.
expiring?
Yeah, right.
Any other questions? All right, need a motion to approve Prop 28 annual report.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Valadeo to approve the Prop 28 annual report for the fiscal year 23-24. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. On to item F, the new job description for the Community Schools Coordinator. Dr. Ritchie.
So it's recommended that the board approve the Community Schools Coordinator Certificate Management job description. This position will be leading, these positions will be leading our community schools program grant implementation over the next 5 years.
Questions? Never.
So when this money is gone, are we hoping that the money's going to continue after 5 years?
As with anything, when you have something that's grant funded, you have a couple options at the end. You can go ahead and say, well, that was a good run and it's done, and let everything go, which is not the intent behind the grant or the legislation that authorized the grant. The intent behind it is that you want to set up something that is going to provide a lasting and a meaningful resource in the community, and that part of what you do through the grant implementation process is you identify other funding resources or other ways to support that grant, those grant funded positions, or you choose to implement it in a different way going forward. So we're going to take the next 5 years working with the individuals that we hire to figure out what's the best way to implement the 4 pillars of the community schools program and make this to be a model program throughout the state.
Because I don't see these as they're not labeled as temporary. We're hiring them as permanent, forever employees, correct?
Well,
not
as of,
subject to funding.
This right here, this is a job description. This is not an employee.
Contracts would be stated as temporary because anytime a position is grant funded or specialized funding, it would say that on the contract itself.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Ms. Gattuso.
Yeah, that was my question. So the posting, they'll understand that it's grant funded.
All right, any other questions? Motion, please. We got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Moran to approve the new job description for the Community Schools Coordinator. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. On to item G, Board Policy Updates. Again, Dr. Ritchie.
It's recommended the board declares intent to adopt the following mandated updates: BP 5126 Awards for Achievement and AR 5126 Awards for Achievement.
All right, any questions? Motion, please. Got a motion by Member Valadeo, seconded by Member Smith, to declare our intent to adopt board policy updates, BP 5126 and AR 5126. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's carried unanimously. Item H, public hearing, naming a facility. Dr. Marshall.
Okay, it's recommended that the board hold a public hearing and approve the name of the football field at Lofton Stadium, Joe Bondi Field.
All right. With that, we will open a public hearing on this item. Anybody that wishes to speak to this, please come forward. And it's 7:52. Seeing no one come forward, we will close the public hearing at 7:52. Comments, questions from the board? Yeah, Ms. Gattuso.
I'm sure everybody understands, but I just want to make sure that it's clear that it's called Lofton Stadium, and we're just naming the field itself, not the stadium. So just wanted to clarify.
That's right. All right. Any other comments or questions? Motion, please.
I move that we name the Lofton Stadium Field Joe Bondi Field.
We have a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Lieb, to approve the name of Lofton Stadium's football field to the Joe Bondi Field. All those in favor? Oops.
Go ahead to take the vote. Go ahead and do the vote now.
Aye.
Oh, I thought you.
Yeah, do the vote then I'll take it.
Oh, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Dr. Marshall?
Okay, one thing I wanted to add that since it's been approved, we'll be kind of discussing the next steps at our subcommittee meeting. As far as the next steps.
Okay. So then we need to schedule a subcommittee.
Yes,
meeting.
definitely.
All right. Item 10, consent calendar. Are there any polls tonight? You got your answer already. Okay. Any polls? Seeing none, need a motion, please?
So moved.
Got a motion by Member Lieb, seconded by Member Gattuso to approve the consent calendar as presented. It is roll call vote. Tina?
Mrs. Gattuso?
Yes.
Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz? Ms. Smith? Ms. Valadeo? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
That was approved unanimously. And next item is reporting out of closed session. We had a number of no action items on the closed session. We did have one action item, and that was a request for leave extension for a classified employee. That leave was approved without benefits. Motion by Gattuso, seconded by Smith. 6 yeses, no nos, and 1 absent. Next is discussion information and future agenda items. Anybody have anything?
I have something.
Dr. Marshall.
Okay. Now that you've approved the consent agenda, I want to join us in welcoming Monica Magana. She's here tonight. She's the new learning director at Creekside. She's been at Creekside, I guess, since it opened. Am I correct? And she's done a lot of leadership roles at the school. The yearbook, English department chair, leadership at the school. So it's going to be a natural, just a seamless transition for her. And I really enjoyed working on our leadership group that we did last year. It was a good getting to know her a little better. So, welcome.
All right, welcome. Thank you. All right. Next item is closed session, and we are actually going to go back into closed session because we did not finish our closed session items tonight. But anything left is non-action, so we will not be reporting out after we are done with closed session tonight. So with that, have a great start to the new year, and have a great evening, and safe travels home. Good night, everybody.